Your signs aren't glitches, they're messages. The 11 seconds, the impossible timing, the way a symbol keeps stalking your day, none of it is random. It's a wake-up call traced to an older operating system, Thoth's, language of number, pattern, and law. Look closer at your world, logos, feeds, the rooms you sit in, and you'll spot the same geometry, the same rhythms, the same spellwork of attention that once lived in temples now pulsing through your phone. This film isn't here to spook you, it's here to give you literacy. We'll map how Hermetic principles surface in modern design, why certain ratios calm you, why certain sounds move you, and how synchronicity clusters when intention gets clear. Then we'll test it, ethically, under Ma'at, truth, balance, service, over ego. The aim isn't to worship symbols, it's to read them, use them, and choose your reality with both feet on the ground. If you're seeing the signs, this is where you learn the code. You don't need to squint to see it. The symbols are hiding in plain sight. Big Tech didn't invent meaning from scratch. It repackaged an older alphabet. Google's 4-color sequence rides an elemental palette. Apple's bitten fruit whispers gnosis, the dangerous taste of knowledge. Meta loops the lemniscate, an infinity ribbon that promises boundless connection while folding you into a corridor without doors. Scan any home screen, and you'll find grids and checkerboards ordering your attention like tiled temple floors, QR lattices and chessboard layouts that sort the mind before the mind thinks. Even the little red badge that begs to be tapped has pedigree. It's a summons, alerting, arousing, insisting. Design is never neutral. It's a language of placement, rhythm, and ritual that borrows the old grammar of temples and repurposes it for taps. Once you know to look, interface becomes liturgy. Buttons placed on golden thirds feel right, because ratio softens resistance, rounded. Radii keep arousal low so you'll stay longer. Micro-animations time your breath. A bouncing dot holds you in expectancy. The oldest magic trick. Captivate attention, then deliver relief. Payment flows mimic processions. Path, gate, offering, blessing, one, tap, tithe to the cloud. Even the camera icon leans archaic. An eye in a box promising capture and memory. 2 powers any scribe, priest would guard. And the spinner that whirls while data loads? A ritual wheel of time, reminding you the cycle will complete if you remain faithful. Some of this is too pointed to unpack on YouTube. Join our free newsletter via the link in the description to read what we reserve off-platform, and for a limited time, you'll also receive a free ebook copy of our book when you sign up. Full details inside. Miss it now, and you'll be asking the people who did. Here's the felt version. You wake into a week of 11 seconds, the oven clock, the taxi receipt, the comment timestamp. A friend you haven't heard from in years pings just as you think of them. Your feed serves a symbol you dreamed last night. That isn't proof of cosmic puppetry, it's a cluster. The field uses what's already salient to get your attention. Treat it like a push notification from the layer beneath the feed. When your intent sharpens, I'm ready to change work. I'm ready to heal this pattern. Signals find you through the channels you already watch. A color you can't stop seeing. A word that repeats in strangers' mouths. An emblem in 3 different places before lunch. The moment you acknowledge it, you feel the gear engage. That click is not superstition. It's coordination. Look at color. Rituals have always colored states. Blues to cool, reds to alert, golds to sanctify. Now watch how platforms cycle those tones to steer your tempo. Calm screens for long reads, hot accents for taps, neon for urgency, and fear of missing out. Look at shape. Cathedrals taught us height softens the voice and stretches the breath. Glass atriums borrow the feeling without the vow. On screens, round corners reduce threat detection. Sharp cards Speed sorting, look at rhythm. Infinite scroll deletes endings, and endings are where choices happen. Remove the ending, and you remove the exit, and you'll keep walking that corridor, because there's never a door. Design is spellwork when symbol plus repetition plus attention align. The Hermetic lens doesn't accuse, it translates. Mentalism? Apps infer your inner state and try to set it. Nudges, streaks, morning prompts that tell you who to be today. Correspondence? The micro mirrors the macro. Your dock becomes a miniature city of plazas, alleys, and altars. The home screen is a map of priorities whether you chose it or not. Vibration? Haptics give texture to thought. A buzz at the wrist answers like a chant, and your nervous system obeys. Polarity? The same features flip for opposite aims. Focus or fixation, connection or compulsion. Rhythm? Daily reminders and seasonal launches. Tied in, tied out, conditioning you to expect the next wave on cue. Cause and effect, tap, reward, post, applause, ignore, penalty. Gender? Ideas need seed and soil, vision and integration, and most platforms overfeed the seed and starve the soil. None of this demands a grand conspiracy, just stacked incentives and old wiring. Symbols work because we do. They harness expectation, memory, and the body's love of pattern. That's why the first move isn't rage at the glyphs, it's literacy. When you can read the symbols, you can choose your place in the ritual, participant, designer, or passerby. And when you can choose, you can aim. The signs will still arrive, but you won't chase every glimmer. You'll ask, what is this inviting me to do? Then you'll act in small, testable ways and watch for the echo. That's how you shift from being written by the interface to authoring your interaction with it. Symbols got your attention. Principles move your reality. Next, we'll open the operating system itself, the 7 laws that every spell and every product launch relies on, whether the makers know it or not. If symbols are the alphabet, principles are the grammar. The reason certain designs steer you and certain signs cluster isn't luck, it's law. 7 old levers that keep showing up because reality keeps answering to them. You don't have to believe, you already use them. The shift is to use them on purpose, with Ma'at as your guardrail. Mentalism, mind first, not thoughts manifest cars, but the quieter truth that state precedes selection. When you enter a supermarket hungry, you don't conjure food, you choose differently. Same with work, love, health. The inner weather colors what you notice, trust, and reach for. Placebo and nocebo are the lab's polite names. Belief alters physiology and performance. In practice, preload state before decisions. 1 breath pattern, 1 sentence of intention, 1 minute of imagery. You are not forcing outcomes. You are tuning perception so you stop picking against yourself. Correspondence, as within, so without. As above, so below. Fractals from fern to coastline to web analytics. Same shapes repeating at different scales. Your desk mirrors your calendar. Your calendar mirrors your priorities. Your priorities mirror your beliefs about worth and time. If your inbox is a permanent siren, your nervous system becomes a permanent firefighter. Shift 1 layer and its neighbors follow. Clean the corner you always avoid. Move the app you tap without thinking. Change the first 15 minutes of your day. Small tweaks ripple because structure and story speak the same language. Vibration, everything moves, nothing rests. States are frequencies. Anger is fast and narrow. Gratitude is spacious and slow. And frequency selects company. Music, tone of voice, lighting, cadence of speech, all modulate your channel. That's why a single track can pull you into dot, focus, and a single rant can throw you off for hours. The practical lever is simple. Curate your inputs. 1 playlist for deep work, 1 for repair, silence when you need to reset the tuner. Not mystical, mechanical. Change the hum around you, and your choices change with it. Polarity, Same stick, two ends. Love divided by hate, courage divided by fear, order divided by chaos. Pairs share a spine. You can't delete one pole, you can slide the position. Activism flips into outrage when center of gravity shifts. Discipline flips into rigidity when fear takes the wheel. The craft is transmutation. Name the pole you're in, then move one notch toward its complement. From panic to curiosity, from apathy to interest. Micro shifts multiply because you regain range. The point isn't perfection, it's steering. Rhythm, in, out, down, boom, bust. Markets swing, moods ebb, creative cycles peak and fall. Trouble starts when you deny the tide or try to surf 24/7. The wiser move is timing. Work with your ultradian cycles, roughly 90 minutes. Keep launch windows short and recovery windows real. Use seasons to frame projects. Your life stops feeling like failure when dips stop looking like doom and start looking like metronome. Rhythm also governs synchronicity. Clusters tend to arrive at thresholds, beginnings, endings, choices. Expect the swell and you'll ride it, not drown in it. Cause and effect. Nothing escapes consequence. Intention without behavior is a wish. Behavior without reflection is drift. The field replies to clarity with clarity. Make a clean ask, take a clean step, and watch for the echo without clawing at it. Feedback loops are kinder when you give them something testable. Prototype the conversation. Send one email. Publish the draft. Effect teaches cause how to aim better next time. This is less manifestation than craft, iterating signal until the noise drops. Gender, not identity. Function, seed and soil. Initiation and integration. Idea and incubation. Modern culture worships seed, constant announcements, hot takes, newness, while starving soil. Digestion, scaffolding, practice. If you keep planting without tending, you burn out and call it fate. Build both into your week. Seed blocks for ideation, soil blocks for structure. Breath in two phases, gather and ground. Rituals that end things as well as start them. When seed and soil dance, outcomes stabilize. Run these laws, and modern life starts looking less like chaos and more like an interface you can read. Internal state tunes selection, mentalism. Small structure changes ripple across scales. Correspondence, inputs, retune mood and choice. Vibration, edges are sliders, not prison walls. Polarity, cycles are clocks, not verdicts. Rhythm, clean steps invite clean feedback. Cause and effect. Vision needs scaffolding to become life. Gender, this is the Emerald OS. Ancient names, everyday levers. Bring it back to your week. Choose one decision you keep botching. Preload state for 60 seconds. Mentalism, change one microstructure around it. A sticky note, a calendar lock, a light bulb. Correspondence, adjust the audio and light during that block. Vibration, when panic spikes, move one notch toward its complement. Polarity, work in a clear arc, then step away on purpose. Rhythm, take the smallest public step that creates an echo. Cause and effect, close with integration. Document what you learned, set the next seed. Gender, you don't need to control reality. You need to cooperate with it. Principles speak through number, shape, and sound. Once you hear the grammar, you'll start seeing the mathematics, the ratios and resonances design uses to guide your breath, your eye, and your sense of rightness. That's where we go next. Number isn't just how we count, it's how reality composes. Before a cathedral lifts the eye, a ratio tells it where to go. Before a melody moves you, intervals arrange the motion. Geometry isn't a cold diagram, it's a mood machine. And you felt it 1,000 times without naming it. The room that settles you, the corridor that rushes you, the layout that makes you decisive, the one that makes you foggy. When Thoth is drawn holding the measuring cord, it's not bureaucracy, it's benevolence. Measure well, and the mind stops fighting the world because the world is carrying the mind. Start with the golden ratio, that 1.618 whisper that appears in shells, storms, and cities. Designers keep it close because it makes edges feel inevitable. Place a focal point on a golden third, and attention glides without snag. Stack type on a modular scale: 1, 1.125, 1.266, 1.424, and your eye reads faster with less fatigue. Even if you've never heard the math, your nervous system has. It relaxes when spacing breathes in proportional steps. This isn't superstition, it's mechanics. The eye loves gradients more than cliffs, arcs more than jagged pivots, living curves more than rigid grids. Proportion is kindness disguised as structure. Look up. Gothic naves don't argue for heaven. They tilt you toward it with height ratios and light cones. Aisles narrow as they rise, focusing sound and slowing speech so the inner narrator softens. Pyramid chambers do something similar with standing waves. Some frequencies linger, some fade, and your voice arrives back at you altered, which alters what you say next. Civic halls, museums, even high-end shops borrow the trick. Control the echo, control the tempo, control the spend. Casinos flip the polarity. No clocks, low ceilings, looping aisles, carpet that absorbs footfall and time. Same rules, different aims. If you feel lifted or lulled, geometry already made the first move. The screen repeats the tempo with pixels. A grid is a kind of square chant. Repeat, align, repeat, and your brain pays in obedience. Cards sit on harmonic spacers. Margins follow modular scales. Hero images crop on rule of thirds. Action buttons live where the thumb's arc lands. Rounded corners ease vigilance. Predators have points. Friends have curves. So you stay longer. Skepticism lowered a notch. Even scroll speed is a rhythm instrument. Tiny tweaks to friction make you read or skim, commit or flit. Math is doing the pastoral work your willpower thinks it's doing. Sound is math you can feel with your eyes closed. Change the tuning reference of a song and you change its tint. The internet loves to fight about 432 hertzes versus 440 hertzes. The careful truth is simpler. Small shifts in tuning, temperament, and interval emphasis can change perceived warmth, tension, and ease. Mood isn't only in lyrics, it's in the distances between notes and the way those distances beat against one another. Harmonics entrain physiology. Slow, consonant intervals pull breath low. Dense, bright spectra push energy forward. You don't need a doctrine, just a dial. Use tone like you use light. Set the state before the task, and the task stops stealing the state. Space is the third instrument. Even a rented room can be tuned with proportion, axis, and placement. Put your desk so your eyes rest on depth, not a wall. The horizon line calms the midbrain. Place the primary tool on a golden third of the surface. Put the capture tools, notebook, recorder, on the opposite third, seed and soil within reach. Hide clutter just outside the visual field. Disorder broadcasts a frequency no playlist can cancel. Keep one rectangle of empty wall. Emptiness is also a ratio, and the mind needs a blank bar in the score to breathe between phrases. Light matters more than furniture. Cooler light for analysis, warmer for synthesis, darkness for decisiveness. If you can't rewire, rehearse. Lamp on deep work, lamp off recovery. Let electricity spell the ritual for you. Now walk your feet like a cathedral. Do the tiles land on harmonic proportions or jitter with cramped margins? Are the fonts stacked on a scale or smashed flat? Do images honor diagonals or clog the center? Your eye knows before your mind votes. Unfollow layouts that jangle your system. Follow pages that keep proportion and pace. Then notice how your patience grows when the visual meter is sane. The algorithm will call this preference. You'll call it recovery. A quick audit to make proportion personal. Draw a rectangle of your current day. Wake to sleep. Divide it by thirds, then by the golden cut inside each third. Mark where you really spend attention. Scrolls, calls, craft, care, and be honest. If your craft block sits in a starved corner while admin hogs the nave, your calendar is arguing against your soul. Move one recurring block to a golden third of the day and protect it with a door, literal or digital. Give your endings geometry. 5-minute closes that include naming, logging, and placing the next seed where your future hand will naturally land. Architecture becomes habit, habit becomes fate. Draw it first. The older builders weren't trying to impress you, they were trying to impress upon you. Stamp the nervous system with patterns that aim it toward coherence. The maths didn't make them holy, the maths made holiness ordinary. That's the shift now. Bring ratio, rhythm, and resonance into your tools and rooms, and you'll feel the field grow less noisy. When the noise drops, timing stands out. You notice the numbers that repeat, the symbol that clusters, the invitation that arrives on the beat. Once you see number, you start seeing timing, and timing is the grammar of synchronicity. Next, we'll learn how to read it without fooling ourselves. Synchronicity isn't a party trick, it's a feedback channel. Think of it as meaning without a visible wire. 2 or more events lining up so precisely it feels like the world briefly spoke, your private dialect. It spikes in liminal spaces, endings, beginnings, thresholds, griefs, creative bursts. When intention gets clear and attention gets calm, you notice it more because you finally left enough silence in the score for the beat to land. This isn't about forcing messages into randomness. It's about learning to read a living field without fooling yourself. Start with relevance. Strong signs touch the exact question you're holding, not a vague life slogan. You ask, "Do I move?" And in the 48 hours after the ask, you encounter the new city's street name 3 times, a call from someone who lives there, and a discounted ticket that expires tonight. That constellation lands differently from spotting 3 number plates with friendly digits. Synchronicity threads the needle between ordinary and impossible by offering just enough precision to invite action without demanding belief. If a pattern doesn't touch your real dilemma, it's decoration, not direction. Then look for clustering. A solo wink can be cute. A cluster compresses time. You'll feel density. The symbol or phrase repeats across unrelated channels. An image in your dream, a word a stranger speaks, a headline, a billboard, a book spine that slides off the shelf. Separate channels are the point. The field uses whatever you already watch. Track density over windows, not weeks. 72 hours works because it's long enough to catch waves, short enough to prevent obsession. You'll learn your cadence. Some people see fast bursts, others get slow, heavy knocks. Don't force a tempo, listen for one. Directionality is the clincher. A meaningful pattern leans. It doesn't just wink, it points. If your ask is, "Do I reach out?" the pattern often arrives with momentum, a sudden gap in your calendar, a small coincidence that places you meters from the person, a third party making an introduction without knowing you were considering it. That lean is the field doing its half. Your half is a small reversible step that costs little and reveals much. Send one message, propose one low-stakes call, sketch one page, visit one room. Synchronicity isn't a command, it's a nudge toward a breadcrumb that turns into a path only after you walk it. Guard against the common traps. Apophenia is the mind's love affair with faces in clouds. It isn't evil, it's just over-eager. Confirmation loops can make anything fit if you stretch hard enough. The antidote is pre-commitment. Before the watch window begins, write the question, the context you're in, and what would count as a lean versus noise. No editing the rubric after the fact. A simple journal keeps your future self honest and reduces the urge to bend the world to your will. If everything is a sign, nothing is. Literacy requires selectivity. Numbers are a popular doorway. 1111, 222, 333. And there's nothing wrong with noticing them. Just don't stop there. Repeating numbers flag that your attention is on, like the opening bar before the lyrics arrive. Ask, on, for what? And widen the aperture. Which question was alive when the number flashed? Which conversation were you avoiding? What tiny action would honor the nudge? Archetypal symbols behave the same way. Snakes, birds, eyes, bridges. Don't sprint to the dictionary. Start with your body. What did you feel when it appeared? Dread, lift, heat, calm. Then add context. A bridge on a day you hesitated to cross a boundary carries a different charge than a bridge on a day you were resting. Dreams count, and so do information cascades. When a theme follows you across unrelated sources, until refusal feels silly. You think of learning an instrument. 3 different people mention the same teacher. A short video on technique finds you, though you don't follow that niche. Your hands tingle when you pass the shop. It isn't proof you'll become a concert player. It's a breadcrumb, leading to a room where part of you lives. Even if the final outcome differs, obeying the breadcrumb often solves the real question beneath the question. Am I allowed to try? Ethics matter. Thoth's literacy. Without Ma'at's balance tilts into superstition or control. Use signs for service, alignment, truth, not to manipulate others or skip responsibility. If a pattern points toward action that harms, inflates, or isolates, that isn't guidance. That's grasping wearing a mask. Clean signals tend to invite courage and humility at once. They ask you to risk a little, learn a lot, and tell the truth as you go. You'll know you're on the beam when the step leaves you clearer, not grander, connected, not dependent, quietly strengthened, not theatrically important. Make it practical. Choose one open question. Write it down. Set your window. Live your life. Log only what lands in your lane with that question in mind. When a cluster leans, take the smallest honest step, then stop and wait for the echo. If nothing leans, nothing's wrong. Silence is a sign too, often to rest or refine the ask. Keep your mind hygienic during the window. Fewer inputs, gentler music, light that lets the nervous system settle. Signs aren't louder than noise. They're cleaner. You create clarity by lowering interference, not by shouting at the universe. Read with patience. Act with lightness. Close with gratitude. Treat the world like a co-author, equal parts mystery and craft. And remember the arc. The field isn't only personal. It's programmable by crowds, habits, and headlines. To read cleanly, you also have to understand how the collective writes. That's where we go next. You don't think alone, you think in weather. Moods move like fronts, ideas spread like songs, and the field you felt in synchronicity is also shaped by how millions scroll, post, and mirror each other all day. If signs are messages, virality is a megaphone. To read cleanly, you need to see how the collective writes. Start with algorithms, those tireless librarians sorting infinity into a feed. They aren't plotting in smoky rooms. They're optimizing for simple objectives. Time on site, clicks, conversions, engagement. Goal is attention. Winners share traits: novel, emotional, repeatable, anger, awe, and fear. Travel farther than nuance. Certainty outperforms curiosity. Repetition beats rarity. None of this requires villains. It requires maths. Optimize for watch time and the system will surface content that glues eyes, not because it's truest, but because it's stickiest. That's how a culture learns to breathe in hot takes and exhale echoes. Mirror neurons finish the job. We copy what we watch, then feel what we copy. A stranger films a tidy desk and your spine lengthens. A creator posts daily outrage and your nervous system warms to fury. Even silence spreads. When your group goes quiet on difficult topics, you learn which truths are expensive Memes formalize the contagion, compressed patterns, easy to carry, easier to repeat. A 4-second sound, a 2-step move, a slogan, an archetypal image. Every share folds another mind into the rhythm and, with enough repetitions, turns preference into reflex. Memes aren't trivial. They're scripts. They tell you what to notice, what to ignore, how to interpret, when to laugh, where to kneel. They can liberate. A healing practice goes mainstream or flatten. A complex issue is packaged into a chant. The test isn't, is it popular, but what does it train? Does this pattern widen my lens or shrink it? Does it restore agency or outsource it? Does it invite service or harvest outrage? Ask before you give a pattern your mouth. Every repost is a micro-programming act, teaching the field what to amplify next. Polarization isn't a glitch. It's an emergent property of competitive attention markets. When extreme takes earn more reach, the middle thins. Out-groups get caricatured. In-groups get purified. Nuance looks like betrayal. Bridge builders are accused by both sides of treason. The dashboard calls this high engagement. On the ground, it feels like exhaustion and dread. You don't fix it with lectures. You fix it with incentives and design. Slow the defaults. Add friction to forwarding. Put context one tap away. Reward corrections instead of only rewarding claims. If we pay the system in attention, the receipt reads, more of whatever got the click. Deconditioning doesn't mean exile. You don't have to flee the village to stop eating its worst food. Start with cycles. Do a weekly input fast. A single evening without feeds, news, or commentary, and watch how quickly your inner weather clears. Pair it with a cohort, 2 friends, 1 hour, shared intention. Compare notes on what shaped your week, 3 pieces that widened your view and 3 that shrank it. Call it a slow media club. The point isn't purity, it's pace. Slower intake stops you from letting the loudest headline decide your mood for the day. Then redesign your defaults. Unfollow accounts that farm your outrage. Follow those that build skill, depth, or kindness. Tuck apps into folders off the home screen and bring books, tools, or courses forward. Add friction where you want less. Log out, grayscale, disable badges. Add ritual where you want more. A standing time to read. A weekly circle to think together. A monthly review to reset. You're not at war with technology. You're renegotiating terms. Watch language. Platforms frame participation with words that feel empowering while recoding you as inventory. Creator, economy, engagement, growth. None are evil. All are levers. Translate them back into human. Did I make something useful? Did people actually benefit? Did this cost me the rest of my attention today? Keep a tiny ledger. If a pattern raises your signal, keep it. If it dilutes you, archive it without a speech. Collective programming isn't only media. Offices run on performance rituals. Families run on unspoken scripts. Cities hum with signage that tells you where to queue, when to cross, how fast to live. Most of it is fine. Some of it is corrosive. Literacy lets you edit. You can disagree with a norm without despising the people who keep it. You can leave one group and join another without burning the bridge behind you. The tools are the same ones you used for synchronicity. Pre-state intention. Take the smallest honest step. Watch for the echo. Adjust without drama. Here's the encouraging part. Coherence is contagious too. Calm speech spreads. Measured curiosity makes a room braver. Groups that decide to tell the truth kindly become islands where nuance survives. These pockets scale. A newsletter that steadies instead of spikes. A classroom that honors questions. An online space with boundaries and repair. Each is a node that feeds the field with a different signal. The collective is programmable, but not by decree, by demonstration. If attention sways outcomes at scale, what does physics say about observers and fields? Next, we'll borrow cautiously from the lab, not to wave wands, but to model why clear intention and coherent emotion seem to change what happens next, and why Ma'at's balance keeps the signal clean. Let's tread carefully. Physics doesn't hand out vision boards. It hands out models. Still, some models are useful metaphors for what you've already felt. Attention alters what unfolds, and shared emotion changes the room. We don't need to torture the equations to say it plainly. Observers matter. In the lab, observer effect often means the measurement setup disturbs a delicate system. In life, it means your way of looking isn't passive. Your stance, curious or clenched, generous or grasping, changes what you notice, how you move, and how others move around you. That cascade is mundane and, at scale, miraculous. You don't bend photons. You bend probabilities by changing behaviors that change paths, that change outcomes. Call it quantum if you like. Call it grown-up, cause and effect, tuned, now coherence. Imagine a choir that's technically in the right key, but each singer is slightly off time and half-place, are out of breath. That's a day of scattered attention. Coherence is the opposite. Breath synced, pulse steady, emotion aligned with intention. Physiologists can measure versions of this in heart rhythms and brain waves. Facilitators can feel it when a group drops in and the conversation stops skating and starts landing. Coherent states seem to have two effects you can bank on. You perceive signal faster, you notice the opening that noise would have hidden, and people respond more cleanly because your presence isn't broadcasting static. Again, no wands, just physics translated into behavior. Lower jitter, raise signal to noise. You'll take different actions at the right time. Fields are the touchy part. In textbooks, fields are mathematical descriptions, ways of mapping how forces distribute in space. In our lives, field is shorthand for the felt atmosphere between people and places, the vibe of a classroom, the charge at a protest, the quiet power in a studio at dawn. You've entered rooms that made you hush and rooms that made you hurry. Nothing visible changed, but everything changed. You can model that with sociology or with a looser, older language. Intention and emotion add up. Enough aligned nervous systems create a climate. Climate influences choice. Choice influences outcome. The chain is human and measurable, even if the poetry we use for it is ancient. Here's the working recipe that keeps showing up. Clear intention, a sentence you can actually act on. Email the editor today. Not become legendary. Coherent emotion, not hype, not panic. Calm commitment, the feeling you get when you know you'll keep a promise. Small step, behavior that bears the intent into the world. Then you watch without clutching. The watch matters. Clutching tightens perception and collapses your options. Relaxed attention leaves you porous enough to spot the sideways door that wasn't on your plan. People call the good version flow and the bad version forcing. Same desire, different state, different effects. Ma'at is the guardrail. Truth, balance, justice, right measure. If you use attention as a lever to inflate yourself, to coerce others, or to skip the work that makes outcomes stable, the signal scrambles. Even if you get the thing, you rarely keep it, and the cost shows up somewhere you didn't invoice. Exhausted relationships, brittle identity, shame you can't quite name. Alignment is not piety, it's engineering. When the intention serves something larger than your ego, service to a person, a craft, a community, the state required to carry it tends to be coherent by design. You stop yanking on outcomes and start tending the conditions that make outcomes more likely. Ethics isn't a mood, it's a stabilizer. Test it. Before a conversation that matters, step away for 90 seconds. Breathe until the exhale is longer than the inhale. Name the clean intent in one line. Picture the smallest good outcome you can directly influence. Clarity, not conquest. Enter slower than you want to. Speak less than you plan to. Afterwards, don't grade yourself on whether you got your way. Grade yourself on whether truth increased and respect survived. If the answer is yes, you just raised the signal in the field. Keep doing it, and you'll notice more luck, fewer messes to mop, and synchronicities that feel like cooperation rather than lottery wins. Groups magnify this. A circle of 4 that settles breath for 60 seconds before deciding spends the next 60 minutes differently. A team that opens with one true sentence each week swims in cleaner water. A family that eats one meal without phones shifts the month. No mysticism required, just repeated states that train a shared nervous system. Call it a collective observer, if you like. We simply call it grown humans choosing not to be noisy. Temples encoded these conditions in stone. Acoustics that lengthen breath. Geometry that lifts the gaze. Rituals that right-size the ego and rebind the group. You don't need a pyramid permit to do the same. You can build temple tech at home. Sound, layout, rhythm, tiny circles that learn how to hold coherence and use it kindly. That's where we're headed next. Not to chant at particles, but to set rooms and routines that make clarity ordinary and courage repeatable. You don't need marble or myth to change the field. You need conditions. Temples solve for breath, sound, light, and sequence. Then let humans do the rest. We're going to steal the engineering and leave the incense. Start with tone. Sound is the fastest way to persuade a nervous system to cooperate. Pick one of 3 states: repair, focus, or gather. For repair, use elongated tones or simple drones. No melody, nothing to chase. Let the notes sit slightly below your speaking pitch. Volume just high enough to notice, low enough to ignore. For focus, use sparse, repetitive music without lyrics, or even a metronome hidden under the track. Think of it like scaffolding for attention. For gather, you plus others, begin with silence, then a short chime that tells everybody in the room, we're starting now. Don't argue with skepticism, demonstrate repeatability. Use the same sound to open and close, and the body will learn the ritual without a memo. Then shape. Layout is instruction. Place your primary seat so it faces depth, window, long wall, or a print that implies horizon. Depth softens vigilance and lengthens exhale. Keep your immediate field clean. 1. Working surface with a dominant triangle, tool, capture, light, set on thirds. Hide chargers, cables, and admin trays just outside your peripheral vision. Disorder broadcasts a frequency that taxes you all day. If you can, align the room so that the path from entrance to seat is unbroken. Every obstacle steals a sliver of resolve. Light is law. Cooler during analysis, warmer during synthesis, dim for decision. Use one lamp as a ritual switch. On means we work, off means we end. You're not being precious. You're training an animal that listens to light better than to language. Tempo next. Run your day on arcs, not sprints. 40-minute deep blocks with a deliberate entry and exit beat most I'll just power through fantasies. Entry, 2 slow breaths, 1 clear line of intent written by hand. Work without swapping tabs. When your mind reaches for elsewhere, bring it back with the line. Exit, 3-minute close. Name what moved, park what's next where your future hand will land, and mark the session complete with the same chime you used to begin. This loop isn't cute. It's a metronome that your weeks will start to keep time with. Breath is your built-in fader. For focus, box breathing, 4, 4, 4, 4, settles jitter without making you sleepy. For repair, 4, 7, 8 lengthens exhale and tilts you toward calm. Before any conversation that matters, take 60 seconds of coherent breathing. Inhale and exhale at the same length, through the nose, and let your shoulders drop on purpose. If that sounds like yoga class, fine. Engineers breathe too. The point is coherence, not contortion. Group coherence is where temple tech really earns its keep. Try a 10-minute weekly circle, online or in a room. 4 to 6 people is plenty. Entry: 30 seconds of shared breath, counted aloud or with a simple visual, then 1 sentence each. Your clean intent for the week. Middle: 15 to 20 minutes of truthful updates in rounds. No advice unless asked. No performance. No pile-ons. Exit: 1 sentence, each naming the next smallest honest step. Use the same opening and closing sound each week. 2 months in, you'll notice conversations elsewhere running cleaner because your nervous system has learned what sincerity feels like again. Build a 1-day reset you can deploy when you're noisy. Morning: light your eyes early, outside if possible. Drink water before caffeine, and spend 5 minutes in stillness with 1 question written, not typed. Midday: 30-minute silent block with a low drone or white noise. No phone, no input, just 1 task or 1 page. Evening: walk without audio for 15 minutes and let your mind finish the day's sentence. Night: warm light, no ceiling glare, and a short close. Name what you're grateful for and what you'll seed tomorrow. Then set a 72-hour synchronicity watch with your question from the morning. This isn't mystical, it's a lab window. You'll either see a cluster and a lean, or you won't. Either way, you'll have proof you can feel. If you live with others, make it collective. 1 shared meal a week without screens. Open with 1 true sentence each, and end with 1 appreciation each. If you work with others, try the micro ritual before meetings. 30 seconds of breath, 1 line stating the decision to be made, and a time box. People will claim they're too busy for this, and then burn 20 minutes, arguing about the framing they skipped. The fastest route is often the slow open. Don't confuse gear with grace. You don't need crystals or rare wood. You need repeatable cues that teach your body what state belongs where. Sound that starts and ends. Light that says yes or no. Layout that stops shouting. Breath that standardizes coherence. Circles that reward truth. Run these, and your home becomes a tuning fork. Your work stops fighting you, and your days stop feeling like dice rolls. And when your inner noise drops, those subtle timings and symbol clusters we spoke about don't have to elbow their way in. You'll just notice and act. Practice makes states reliable. Reliability makes change usable. Next, we'll anchor this into your actual life. Sleep, boundaries, creative surges, and the small, unglamorous habits that keep awakening from tipping into burnout or a story you use to avoid real work. Awakening is romantic until it rearranges your sleep, your appetite for noise, your patience for small lies. Then it becomes logistics. The point of seeing patterns isn't to float above life, it's to stand inside it with a steadier hand. Integration is the craft that takes a bright moment and makes it durable. Less fireworks, more fire. Start with the body. Early signs of shift are usually measurable before they're mystical. Your sleep window slides earlier or later. Dreams get vivid. Morning feels charged or tender. Caffeine hits harder. Sugar sits worse. Don't moralize the changes. Measure them. Track bedtime divided by wake time for 2 weeks without judgment. If your sleep wants an earlier gait, move light exposure and the last meal back by 30 minutes. If you're wide awake at midnight with clean energy, give yourself 1 90-minute block for study or craft and pay the sleep debt honestly the next evening. Integration is a negotiation with a real organism, not a slogan about 5am clubs. Sensitivity rises, which is both gift and tripwire. Music that never touched you now turns you. Crowded rooms fray you faster. The wrong light feels like sand in the eyes. The old way is to tough it out and call fragility failure. The integrated way is to respect bandwidth and tend it. Carry the simple fixes. Foam earplugs for harsh rooms. A hat for unforgiving light. Water before debate. 10 quiet breaths in the bathroom when the conversation tilts. Boundaries stop being theater and start being maintenance. You're not fragile, you're precise. Creativity spikes in odd places. Ideas arrive in queues, not one by one. and the temptation is to honor them all with announcements. Don't. Honor them with containers. Keep a seed book within reach, phone note, or pocket pad, and capture without committing. Once a week, move 3 seeds into soil. Define the smallest next step for each, and schedule them on a specific day at a specific hour. Close the rest with gratitude and put them on a not yet list. That list isn't failure. It's proof you can hold abundance without spraying it into the room. Hygiene for the mind looks unglorious and works wonders. One daily input fast, even 20 minutes, trains the urge to consult the feed, to consult the breath instead. A micro Sabbath each week, half a day with no shopping, no fixing, no optimization, teaches you that rest is not a prize you earn by bleeding. A morning and evening rebind ritual, 1 line of intention on waking, 1 line of truth on sleeping, keeps the day from smearing into noise. None of this is grand. All of it is scaffolding that keeps the signal clean enough to hear. Boundaries get kinder and firmer. Say no earlier. A soft, timely, no costs less than a resentful late yes. When you must decline, give the truth that belongs to you and not the judgment that belongs to them. I don't have the bandwidth. Not, you always ask last minute. When you must end a pattern, end it on paper first. Write what it gave you, what it cost, what you're choosing now. Ritual closes. Keep ghosts from running loops in your head. If someone pushes past your no, hold the door from your side, and don't narrate the story where you're cruel for guarding your energy. Ma'at is balance. Your scale counts too. Guard against the 2 classic errors, grandiosity and avoidance dressed as spirituality. Grandiosity looks like, I can read the field so well I don't need to prepare. Integration says, prepare anyway. Avoidance looks like, the universe will send me what's mine while you dodge the phone call. Integration says, make the call, then read the echo. Keep a reality ledger, not a mood diary, a results book. Each week, list 3 experiments you ran, signals followed, conversations initiated, practices kept, the observable outcome, and the next tweak. This keeps you honest and gives your future self a map of what works when you can't remember how you got here. Relationships shift. Some fall away without a fight. No scandal, just different weather systems. Others deepen because you finally say what you've been swallowing. You don't have to convert anyone. You don't have to keep anyone. See who meets you at truth without needing your performance. If you lose a chorus and gain 1 clear voice, you're not becoming lonelier. You're becoming tuned. When people accuse you of changing, consider thanking them for noticing, and then keep going. Your environment wants to play along. Rotate your layout every season, even by inches. Change cues, keep habits alive. Refresh your sound and light palette on project milestones. Completion deserves a tone change. Build closures into your calendar. A monthly reckoning where you end things on purpose. Archive files. Send thank you notes. Delete the someday tasks that are actually never. Endings create clean ground. Clean ground grows better beginnings. If awakening brought you a surge of courage, spend it carefully. Courage is capital. Don't waste it proving points to people who aren't taking responsibility for their lives. Spend it building, skills that compound, work that serves, spaces that steady others, conversations that make honesty cheaper. Integration is what makes your courage contagious instead of exhausting. It's what turns the one-off miracle into a baseline you can trust. None of this ends with you. A stable signal in 1 person changes how rooms behave. 1 family meal without screens changes a week. 1 team that breathes before decisions changes a project. From I to we is not a slogan, it's an architecture. In the final part, we'll map the ripple, how your coherence seeds circles, circles seed culture, and culture shifts the field we all think inside. Reality doesn't only change inside you, it changes where you stand. 1 tuned person shifts a room the way a single candle changes a cave. People breathe slower around steadiness, tell more truth around kindness, and take braver steps when someone in the circle is done performing. This is the ripple. Signal room norm culture. You're not the hero of it. You're the first note that lets the choir find key. Start with the nearest circle. Family, housemates, friends, colleagues, whoever shares your daily weather. Don't evangelize. Demonstrate. Keep one shared ritual that steadies everyone. A phone-free meal. A Sunday reset hour. A 2-breath pause before decisions. Make it cheap to join and impossible to fail. Consistency beats intensity. When the ritual belongs to the group, not your personality, it survives your mood swings and their skepticism. Rituals that are light to carry travel far. Next, build small coherence nodes, rooms, chats, or tables where nuance survives. A weekly learning circle that opens with breath and closes with next steps. A neighborhood salon that swaps hot takes for real questions. A digital space with boundaries, repair, and moderators who don't confuse volume with value. Publish principles, not postures. Truth over performance. Questions over certainties. Kindness over agreement. Repair over exile. The rule of 3 keeps groups sane. 3 norms, 3 roles, 3 rhythms. Support truth. Aligned media, like you. Support clean water. Pay for work that widens your lens. Share pieces that reduce heat and increase light. Reward corrections and updates, not just mic drops. If you make media, set a cadence your nervous system can keep without cannibalizing your life. Depth scales slower than outrage and lasts longer. You can be part of the attention economy without selling your attention span. Design workspaces and classrooms as temple tech without the incense. Give beginnings and endings a sound. Let sunlight and oxygen be policy, not perk. Time meetings to human cycles. Shorter, clearer, fewer. Put the decision question on the wall before people speak. Close with what you learned, what you're trying next, and who's holding which piece. Complexity becomes bearable when the room carries some of the thinking for you. Then widen. Cities run on signage. Communities run on rituals. Nations run on stories. Offer alternatives to brittle ones. Organize service days that are actually useful. Build maker spaces where teenagers learn to ship ideas without being turned into brands. Start quiet repair tables where people bring conflicts to be heard and stitched, not scored. Seed traditions worth inheriting. A monthly potluck where people bring a skill to teach. A seasonal cleanout where tools and books flow to where they'll be used. A yearly vow to end 3 things on purpose. Guard against the shadow of movements, purity tests, hero worship, and the intoxication of scale. Purity feels powerful and kills curiosity. Heroes make progress fragile. When they fall, the work stalls. Scale seduces you into optimizing for optics over outcomes. Keep the center of gravity small. Clear aims, honest measures, quiet wins. Let people leave without punishment. Let them return without penance. The field gets stronger when participation is by consent and the door swings both ways. You'll be tempted to measure your life by virality, followers, or public praise. Measure by sturdier things. The room that feels safer after you spoke. The apology you made quickly. The person who tried something because you made it cheap to try. These don't trend, they accumulate. Look for compounding signals. Fewer avoidable crises. More timely help. Briefer conflict. Decisions that stick. That's culture changing. It rarely announces itself. It just starts costing less to do the right thing. If you want company for the deeper layers, the case studies we can't publish publicly, and the protocols we only share off-platform, join our free newsletter via the link in the description. For a limited time, you'll also receive a free ebook copy of our book when you sign up, because we want you resourced when the next decision arrives. Skip it, and you'll be asking others who did. This is where Thoth's wake-up call lands. Symbols as code, laws as levers, number as guidance, rooms as amplifiers, hearts as instruments. You don't need permission to begin. You need a first repeatable act. Start one ritual, tune one room, teach one person how to read a sign without superstition, and act without drama. If 1,000 of us do that in 1,000 small places, the defaults change, not by decree, by demonstration. If you feel this on a deep level, comment, "I get the code."